An unexpected but fascinating matchup coming up in the title game. Western Kentucky and Central Florida each looking for a signature win, the kind that guys like me talk about in March.
Myrtle Beach known for its golf courses, but Joey Brackett's knows tonight it's all about hoops. We are handing out some hardware tonight at the Myrtle Beach Invitational, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. Two teams left standing for a title, the UCF Knights and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. The Knights got here winning 2 games by an average of 18 points. The Hilltoppers upsetting West Virginia in the semifinals to reach the championship game. And that sets the stage from inside the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. Alongside Debbie Antonelli, I'm Rich Hollenberg, thrilled to be joining you for the championship game from the Myrtle Beach Invitational. And these two teams, UCF and Western Kentucky, both feature the top 2 rebounders in this tournament so far. One a spectacle of a senior, the other a fabulous freshman.
You're talking about the fabulous freshman. We've seen him play dominating rim to rim and owning the middle of the floor. That's Charles Bassey for Western Kentucky. He's 6'11". He's got a 7'3" wingspan, and he can dominate on the interior for Western Kentucky. He protects the back row of their defense, but he's going to have to be challenged to stay with 7'6" with an 8'4" wingspan. Taco Fall. He can simply go up on the glass where no one else can go. And these are 2 players that are featured offensively. Both teams will run their offenses around, getting them quality touches on the block.
Both have a double-double to their credit in this invitational. Bassey ending up with 13 points and 15 rebounds against West Virginia in the semifinal. Taco Fall had 12 points, 9 boards, and 4 blocks against St. Joe's. Your officials tonight, Jerry Pollard, Mike Roberts, Mike Eads, and the championship game at the Myrtle Beach Invitational is underway. UCF in their road blacks control the opening tip. Immediately they go inside to Fall, and immediately Deshaun Murray comes around for the interception.
Well, they go to double on the pass out of their man-to-man. Now Rick Stansberry will play multiple defenses against UCF.
Bassey, spin move, no good, and UCF clears.
It's obvious, almost cliche, Rich, to talk about pulling Taco Fall away from the basket, right? That's why you see Bassey with that quick elbow jump shot.
Terrell Allen misses his first shot. He led the team in scoring with 22 in the semifinals. Here's Jared Savage. He could fill it up for the Hilltoppers. Bassey lines up a jump shot and opens the scoring of this championship game.
I think we've seen Charles Bassey get confident as they've played through their way through this championship. He has been terrific. He demands the basketball on the inside, that's for sure, and he's stepping away early.
There's Colin Smith, the big body for UCF, and he's called for the foul. Johnny Dawkins, 3rd season at the UCF helm, and he prides himself and built this program on defense. As a matter of fact, over the last 2 years, Deb, they were number 1 2 years ago in opponent field goal percentage, number 3 last year in scoring defense.
Well, think about it like this. You got Taco Fall. He's going to block your shot. If you over-penetrate anywhere around the logo area, he can contest it like this, okay? That means you don't shoot a very high percentage if you keep teams in front.
Here's Murray running into that wall named Fall. They try for the follow, and it's no good. And Deshaun Murray, all 6'4" of him, somehow come away with not 1 but 2 rebounds in that sequence.
Knowing the motor that Deshaun Murray plays with, I cannot wait to see how he handles the Taco Fall matchup inside when he goes into the glass.
Deshaun Murray, a graduate transfer from Auburn, where he led the Auburn Tigers in rebounding a year ago. Bassey stepping out and knocking down a triple. Charles Bassey, we're watching him grow up before our eyes.
My
the
goodness.
18-year-old has 5.
We watched him with that soft touch in practice, and Coach Stansberry said he would let him take a 3, but I wasn't expecting us to see it this early.
B.J. Taylor off the mark in his first shot attempt, and it's going to be Western Kentucky ball.
And I don't mean early in the game. I mean early in the season. Look at this right here. He shoots it with great rhythm. Throw over the top of Taco Fall. Now, that's a great way to pull him away from the basket.
Well, Rick Stansbury brought in Charles Bassey, the #1 recruit in Western Kentucky history. His 3rd season at the top, 17th overall as a head coach. And he turns 59 next month. He is a native from the Bluegrass State. And he is the right man for this job to turn this program around. And they are trending upward. #1 preseason in Conference USA, as is the UCF Knights, #1 in their conference, the Athletic. Rick Stansbury obviously made a name for himself at Mississippi State, spent the last couple of seasons as an assistant to Billy Kennedy at Texas A&M before coming over to Bowling Green and taking over this Western Kentucky program 3 years ago.
And this is this 1-3-1 that has been really good in this tournament.
Aubrey Dawkins off the mark with that 3 attempts. He's really struggled from 3-point range in the early part of this season. Tavion Hollingsworth, a natural scorer, and this is his first shot. Well, we're in the championship game, Deb. What does each team need to do to win?
Well, for UCF, they've got to manage the tempo, and you know the tempo changes when they have Taco Fall on the floor and when they don't, and they've got to be able to make sure they manage both. They've got to attack this 1-3-1. We just saw Aubrey Dawkins have a good look, and he didn't able to connect on it, but he had a wide open look. And then Western Kentucky, we talked about establishing Bassey. They've already done that, no surprise there. And when Taco Fall's not on the floor, the UCF guards are smaller than Western Kentucky's guards. Let's see if they can invert them to the block.
And Fall is on the bench right now, and instead of getting it to the guards posting up, they threw it out of bounds for a turnover.
He'll play 3 or 4 minute stretches, and then he'll sit, and then Johnny Dawkins will bring him back in. And Rich, to your point, you've mentioned, you were even talking about this, that it's almost like preparing for 2 different teams in terms of how you go about attacking on offense.
Taco Fall is a difference maker. Right now, he's on the bench, and UCF has yet to score in this game. Here's Bassey against the smaller Allen. And Charles Bassey is single-handedly shutting out the UCF Knights.
How impressive is this young man?
7 for Bassey.
Here's this 1-3-1 on a made basket.
Dawkins, baseline, floater, and finally UCF breaks the seal.
See, Donnie Dawkins knows that the 1-3-1, once you get it past the initial trap, goes to a 2-3 below the free throw line. And before Western Kentucky gets organized, you can attack that.
Both of these teams coming in 3-1 on the season. UCF was a Florida Atlantic buzzer-beating putback away from being undefeated. And here's Bassey again. All 9 points scored by the freshman Charles Bassey.
I think Rick Stansbury got the message to his guards in this game. We're going to get Bassey going early.
Dawkins trips. It'll be UCF basketball as we come back from our first media timeout. The Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship at Western Kentucky, and specifically Charles Bassey, off to a hot start.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Relax and unwind on Myrtle Beach time. And Advocare. Advocare, we build champions.
Western Kentucky in the championship game off to a smoking hot start, 9-2 over UCF, 15:22 to go in the first half. And Deb Antonelli, it's been all Charles Bassey.
What was that word, spectacular you used? He has absolutely been spectacular to start the game. 4 for 7 from the floor, 4 assists on all 4 of his baskets coming from the guards from Western Kentucky.
Good hands by the Hilltoppers defense, knocks it out of bounds. It'll stay UCF basketball with 6 on the shot clock. And Taco Fall, hard to miss him, number 24 in black. He is back on the floor. BJ Taylor triggers the inbounds, and it's picked off by Anderson. There's that length of Western Kentucky coming into play. And Charles Bassey again 11 points for Bassey, and it's 11-2 Hilltoppers lead.
So Rick Stansberry has been going to his 1-3-1 off of made baskets. He's made a change here. Now they're going to stay in their man-to-man. Mixing it up, trying to keep UCF off balance.
Here's Fall. Inside, Allen. Nice ball movement by the Knights. And finally, they get their second bucket of the game. It's by Terrell Allen.
Transfer from Drexel. He is a terrific scorer, had a big game. The last game, he did all the scoring against St. Joe's.
Here's Murray from the elbow. Immediately has to reverse course when Taco Fall fronts him. The lob inside. Bassey.
He traveled.
And he shuffled.
Well, he had the up and under move. All he had to do was finish it. In transition off their D. This is where he is so good. He runs the middle of the floor. You don't have to worry about him leaking out to the perimeter, running the wing wide. He's going to run the middle.
Well, Dan D'Antoni has John Elmore back for that Marshall team that went to the NCAA tournament a year ago. Some people picked them as the favorite in Conference USA, but more often than not, it was Rick Stansberry's Western Kentucky team that was picked #1. And so far, Deb, in this tournament, we're seeing evidence of why.
There's no question. They're length on the outside. They can score from multiple positions. Bassey is continuing to dominate, and they've got depth on the inside as well.
Yeah, Tolu Smith, 0 and white, is on. He's a freshman big man as well, and he's played really well. Anderson, the step through and a wild shot. And here comes Dawkins and the Knights. B.J. Taylor averaging 17.5 in the first 4 games for UCF. Hasn't gotten his first 2 so far in this title game.
He only had 5 points in the last game. Here he is with a ball. He's a preseason pick for Player of the Year in the American.
Foul on the floor, and that's going to go on Josh Anderson, his second foul. So immediately, Rick Stansberry goes to his reserves, and another freshman, Delano Banton, number 20 in white, checks in, and he's an intriguing piece for Stansberry, if only for the fact that he's a 6'8" point guard.
Yeah, they signed him, he was 6'5". He reclassified, came in, now he's 6'8". And he has got a really good skill set. He's just got to learn to play with the pace of the game.
B.J. Taylor off the mark. And another Western Kentucky foul as Taco Fall grabs the rebound.
I mean, the only way you can simulate Taco Fall in practice is with a broomstick. I mean,
I was
honestly,
wondering if you were going to say that.
That's the only thing I could think of.
Dawkins in the corner. Aubrey Dawkins' jump shot looks as smooth and as sweet as his pops did back in the early mid-'80s when he was an All-American and a Naismith Player of the Year with the Duke Blue Devils, but he has been really off the mark to start the season. He's only made 5 3-pointers. He's attempted a couple tonight, hasn't made one yet.
The only difference to me in their 2 jump shots is Aubrey's right-handed and Johnny was left-handed. Great player at his time at Duke, a terrific pro in the NBA. And man, he knows how to get his son ready to play, right? He's transferred from Michigan, played a couple of years there for John Beeline. And Coach Dawkins told us the other day he spent some time talking to some other coaches that coach their son just to see what it's like, some of the things to be aware of. It's not as simple as it seems.
A lot of times you'll hear coaches who are fathers say either you have to have your son be the best player on the team or the worst player on the team. And I don't know if you can make that case for Aubrey Dawkins. He's certainly not the worst, but with B.J. Taylor on the floor, he's certainly not the best either.
And I would add hardest worker, too, to that list. Taco catches.
Fall, yeah, got a nice feed in the post finally.
I mean, it is literally a drop in the bucket when he catches it that deep. He just drops it in the bucket.
Let's see if he can drop in the free throw. Unorthodox style, to say the least. And since Joe Lenardi was in the house earlier, we decided to do a little comparison, front to back instead of side to side. Taco Fall listed at 7'6". Joey Brackett's a couple inches shorter than that.
How many Joe Lenardis do you have to stack up to reach this?
Yeah, I would say at least 2. Taco went 0 for 2 from the free throw line. He's just 3 for 12 from the stripe this season.
Oh, what a pass by Merrick Nelson. That's great awareness.
Jared Savage doesn't miss an open three like that very often. Coming up on 8 minutes gone by in the first half, and UCF can lay claim to just 2 made field goals. What's the Western Kentucky defense doing so well?
I think they're doing a good job of contesting shots. I think they're doing a good job of closing out. They have that extra ingredient for Rick Stansbury that you see early on in teams that you know that could be a winning formula for them, is they're a little gritty. You know, they've got toughness about them. Besides their skill and their length, you can see they want to compete. Almost like a chip on their shoulder trying to prove something.
Well, he's got 4 transfers and 4 freshmen on this roster. That might have something to do with it. Fall way off the mark on the front end of a 1-and-1. He's 0 for 3 from the free throw line. Has yet to get in the scoring column.
There's the lob.
There's the lob, and Savage pays it off on the assist from Banton.
Great screen. Good setup by Savage. Set his player up perfectly, and that pass was just over the top of Taco Fall.
This is a Western Kentucky team that was 9th in the nation in total dunks a year ago. They had a few highlight ones in the semifinal game against West Virginia. Their first one here tonight. Here's Fall. Talk about dropping it in the bucket. First 2 of the night for the 7'6" Taco Fall.
Your eyes are drawn to him naturally because he's tall, but he is highly skilled and he is very athletic. We saw him dive for a loose ball in the game the other night.
Banton goes right at Fall and gets it to go off the window. It's a veteran move by the freshman, Banton.
You got to get that thing high off the glass.
Taylor, the bump from Banton. We have a timeout on the floor with 11:03. It's been all Hilltoppers. First it was Charles Bassey with the first 11 points for Western Kentucky, and now Jared Savage gets in. It was Banton with the alley, Savage with the oop. Starting tomorrow, Hawaii will not just be known for beaches and pina coladas, it'll be known for basketball as well. From Lahaina, the Maui Gym Maui Invitational. It starts off with number 9 Auburn and Xavier, and number 1 Duke taking on San Diego State. Arizona, Iowa State, Gonzaga, Illinois, all in the bottom half of a loaded field. And Johnny Dawkins knows all about high-level recruits coming to play for Mike Krzyzewski. He was one back in the day. They have the most top 3 recruits in the ESPN 100 since 2007, 11 in all. But one he missed out on is back on the floor for Rick Stansbury, and that is Charles Bassey, who already has 11 points in this championship game. Haven't heard much from Tavion Hollingsworth yet.
Colin Smith is guarding Bassey right now. Number 35 in black. Oh, good D.
Now the UCF defense rears its head. Taylor blocked by Merrick Nelson.
Really good defense. I'm telling you, Merrick Nelson is to Western Kentucky what, to me, Chad Brown is to UCF. Energy players. And Bassey runs ahead of the ball. As soon as he knew that Western Kentucky had collected the basketball, he is ahead of the ball to the rim.
That is freshman to freshman. Look out, Conference USA. Charles Bassey is coming of age. He's one of the 5 youngest players in Division I basketball. Just turned 18 at the end of October. He misses the chance at a three-point play, but he's got 13 already tonight, and we're not even halfway through the first half.
UCF just looks a little flat to me. They just don't seem to have some sort of emotion to play with right now.
Here's DeJesus. Nice tip by Smith.
Maybe that'll get him going right there. Colin Smith is terrific at attacking. See if they can get a stop with their defense.
It's been all Western Kentucky so far. Charles Bassey leading the charge, but they've been sharing the basketball. 7 assists on 8 made field goals. Ball's out of bounds. It's going to stay Hilltoppers basketball.
Again, another winning play by Merrick Nelson, crashing the glass, forcing the turnover.
And Nelson, young as well, only a sophomore out of Plano, Texas. Went to Sunrise Christian Academy. A lot of good D1 players coming out of there in Wichita. Savage, pull up, no. And Smith clears for the Knights.
Well, UCF hasn't been able to get any easy buckets, nothing in transition.
Dawkins.
Good cut from the weak side.
4 points for Aubrey Dawkins.
See, that's not a play. That's just knowing how to play. Great cut.
Now UCF trying to crank up the pressure on defense a little bit.
And now you see a little emotion out of them, right? Now they look a little connected on the defensive end.
10 on the shot clock. Nelson gets it to Bassey. What do they say about never making a bounce pass to a big man?
Tough pass to handle. I think Bassey can handle the bounce pass coming from the wing or from the top in the high-low game, but that was a tough one for anybody to catch.
Banton takes a seat on the bench. Productive minutes for the freshman backup point guard. Josh Anderson, number 4, the starting point guard, back in, and he triggered the inbounds. Quick release by Savage, and another empty possession. Here's Allen, pushing the tempo. Now Burt's with the high arcing jumper, no good.
Here comes Hollingsworth. Here's his chance to make a play.
He's got a good floater game, but not that time. 2-on-1 for UCF. And an unforced error on Cesar DeJesus.
Out of control, he just loses the handle on it. Travels. You got to catch the ball with 2 hands.
That's 6 turnovers for UCF, and Johnny Dawkins can't be pleased about that. Think about what this UCF athletic department has gone through this weekend. One day after College Game Day was in Orlando to see the Knights take on the Bearcats, and they won again, 23 straight. And now the UCF basketball team is in the championship game at the Myrtle Beach Invitational.
Well, you got to give Danny White, their athletic director, credit, because he has created a lot of synergy there, and that it's a 68,000 students go to school there, and their facilities are terrific.
15 for Bassey, matches his season high already.
Who doesn't like going to Orlando, Florida, right?
Dawkins from the corner, got it this time. A 3-pointer for Aubrey Dawkins, the first 3-pointer of the game for the Knights.
And
Dawkins with 7, Deb, and it brings them to within 2 possessions.
Yeah, he's kind of holding his right knee, almost like a little slow to move right there, Aubrey Dawkins. Let's see if he's okay.
DeJesus. And now a little bit of a run from UCF. They're 2 within 4, 19-15. Western Kentucky's trying to get Bassey the ball nearly on every possession. They're just not giving it to him in the right spots.
Well, he's got to work a little harder against the zone, too, to try to get position, especially on this side of the zone with the smaller guards.
Hollingsworth fouled on the pull-up. Tavion Hollingsworth will go to the line when we return, but it's UCF trying to make a run and get back in this.
As soon as we challenge whether they had the emotional game playing, they got it going right now. They pull to within a 2-possession game inside 8 to play.
think these UCF Golden Knights fans are interested in this show coming up on Tuesday, the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings at 7 Eastern. Reese and the guys breaking them down from top to bottom, coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with new committee chairman Rob Mullins. And of course, we mentioned earlier, Deb, UCF football, 23 straight wins after that win at home against Cincinnati, and they were 11th ranked and undefeated coming into this week, and who knows if they're going to move up the charts. Speaking of UCF sports, this is the UCF basketball team, or the Western Kentucky basketball team that is dominating UCF right now, and a big reason why, Charles Bassey, the assistant coach we just showed you, his name is Hensi Oriental, and he is the official legal guardian of one Charles Bassey, the same Charles Bassey who has scored 15 of the 20 Western Kentucky points so far.
Well, he's an assistant on the staff for Rick Stansbury, and it's not the only time or place where an assistant has been hired and brought their son or their, I would say not he, because he's the guardian, I mean his son. I've known of other coaches that have hired staff and they brought recruits along with them.
Yep. It is something that is completely legal. There is nothing underhanded about it. Oriental does have some coaching experience, albeit at a much lower level of college basketball, but
he has the same responsibilities as the rest of the assistants.
Yeah, we talked to Rick Stansbury about it. He said he does scouting for certain teams and certain games, just like the other assistants will do.
Well, Rick Stansbury is an innovator, that's for sure. And one of the things that he did is had a pro day on his campus. You know, you think of the Blue Bloods having pro days where the NBA scouts have come to practice. He had 22 NBA scouts at his pro day.
Blocked by Taco. And a foul is called.
You can't go over, you have to go around. And Deshaun Murray knows that anyway because of his size going against guys that are 6'10" in the post. Now you're going against 7'6", and you can't score over the top. You need to pass the ball.
Taco from the free throw line. It's always an adventure. He's 0 for 4 from the stripe. Held to just 2 points so far on the game.
It is a unique shooting style for sure.
And he got one to go. 3 points, 1 rebound, and a block for Taco Fall. And his UCF Knights are within 5 with 6.5 to go in the first half.
2-3 zone.
And Western Kentucky turns it over. That's the 5th Western Kentucky turnover of this championship game. So here comes B.J. Taylor. No points so far for the leading scorer on this UCF team. Preseason Athletic Conference Player of the Year. Here's Taco going up against Bassey. And give Taco Fall credit for an assist as Aubrey Dawkins scores in the paint.
Again, throw it in the post, play off the 7'6" Taco Fall. He's gonna find you. No one can get in his vision. He's too tall.
Western Kentucky's led by as many as 11. Their lead has been cut to 3. Nelson, blocked by Fall. And unfortunately, UCF loses it out of bounds.
You know, you talk about not over-penetrating with Taco Fall on the floor. You can't even take an elbow jump shot with these on the floor. One of the 40 tallest human beings on the earth right now, and certainly the tallest in Division I basketball.
Well, the 7'6" is impressive, but 8'4" wingspan. Like you said, I don't even know if you can get around him. You certainly can't get over him. Getting around him, if he spreads those wings out, goodness gracious.
Size 22.
And a fine human being to boot.
and handles his uniqueness so well.
Yeah.
I've not seen him say no to an autograph or a picture since we've been in Myrtle Beach.
Here's Nelson, goes around fall, and the foul's called on the floor. That's the second foul on Taco Fall, so he will go to the bench. And number 21, Chad Brown, will take his place on the floor. What does UCF do differently on the defensive end when Taco's not in the game?
Well, I just think they're more active and they switch on ball screens, and I think their ball screen defense is a little bit different. They're just more aggressive and they can play faster. They can run through their offense faster. They can run through their transit. They can get up and down the floor in their transition game faster.
Five minutes to go in the first half of the championship game from Myrtle Beach. UCF has yet to take the lead on Western Kentucky. It's a 5-point Hilltoppers lead. BJ Taylor still 0 for the field so far.
Well, they only had 5 points in the last game, and those points came late when the game was over. It was a 20-point win for UCF over St. Joe's, and they were taking time off the clock, and he was managing the game from the top of the floor. That's how we got to the free throw line and got a couple of shots, but he really hasn't been in rhythm in this event the last 2 games.
Here's Taylor along the baseline, gives it up to Dawkins. Good ball movement by the Knights, and it pays off with a triple by Frank Burtz. Burtz had a career-high 10 points in the semifinal win, and now it's as close as it's been all game long. 2-point lead for Western Kentucky. Hollingsworth for 3. Yes.
Nice job by Jay Goldmer to get in the gap of the zone and kick. Maybe that'll get Hollingsworth going.
Tavion Hollingsworth averaging 18 in the first 4 games for the Hilltoppers, has 5 in this one. Taylor still can't find the bottom of the bucket. Here's Anderson in transition. And a wild shot by Josh Anderson.
You just got to make a better decision than that.
Josh Anderson forced into the point guard role at the start of the season, with Lamonte Bearden sitting out the first 9 games due to an academic suspension. So it's kind of point guard by committee for Rick Stansberg.
But when the game slows down like this, whoever's on the top of the floor needs to execute.
Bassey turns, in a rare miss in this first half for Charles Bassey. UCF can tie it with a triple. Dawkins tried to do just that. It goes over the backboard and out of bounds. And it will be Western Kentucky basketball when we return. Credit Johnny Dawkins and the UCF Knights for hanging in. They're within 1 possession.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings. And Courtyard by Marriott, the official hotel of the NFL.
Look at this game. Coach K getting set for the Maui Invitational there in very beautiful Hawaii. We'll get his thoughts on the rising expectations for the Blue Devils. Look at some under-the-radar teams as well. Maybe UCF or Western Kentucky falls under that. What do you see from the Hilltoppers here?
Well, they do fall underneath that category. And when I look at this Western Kentucky team, they are athletic, they're talented, but they're inexperienced as a group. They're going to get better.
Got to get BJ Taylor going for UCF. 5 points in the last game, 0 for 6 in this one.
Preseason All-Conference Player of the Year. See you at half, guys.
Thank you, boys. Sounds like Fonz and the coach, Seth Greenberg, are dialed into this Myrtle Beach Invitational final. And you heard Fonz say it. UCF, if they're going to win this championship, BJ Taylor is going to have to be a factor.
Well, he's 0 for 6 from the floor, and he hasn't had a clean look. He's really tried to force things on the interior.
Hollingsworth passed up the 3 for a tough 2.
Yeah, you got to pass the basketball right there. You know, B.J. Taylor picked to be preseason player of the year in the American.
Burks with another 3, his second of the night. And don't look now, but we have a tie ball game in this title game. It's the first tie of the game coming up on 2 minutes to go.
Well, the energy level changes. And if you watch number 21 in black on the back row right here, Chad Brown, he brings a lot of skill and energy to this UCF team.
Banton too strong. UCF scores and they'll take their first lead of the game. Here's Allen. And it was blocked partially by Banton.
Uh-oh.
Bassey leading the break. Savage with a dagger of a 3. That's a big comeback for the Hilltoppers.
When you've got 6'11" off the glass, it can initiate the break with a couple of dribbles up the floor and don't need to make the outlet. You can transition quickly. That is really hard to match up with.
Brown right in the face of the freshman Bassey, and Chad Brown has his first 2.
I'm telling you, I love the role that Chad Brown plays when he comes off the bench. He's a great screener. He talks on defense. He's got tremendous toughness about the way he plays.
He is a grown man and one of the seniors on Johnny Dawkins' roster. Bassey got the offensive board and will go back to the line.
You don't need no outlet pass. Look at Bassey. Hollingsworth was actually behind him. But Savage runs to the corner, and it's a well-executed break by Western Kentucky.
15 points, 6 rebounds already for the 18-year-old freshman from Lagos, Nigeria, Charles Bassey.
Based on what we've seen since we've been here out of his game, it seems like the perimeter game of Western Kentucky is starting to understand just how good he is. Because I thought Rick Stansberry's team, when they go to their dribble drive and their motion game or their 4 out, 1 in with Bassey in, he posts hard, but they don't find him. And Coach Stansberry would have to call sets for them to be able to get the ball inside to Bassey. But now you see the two flowing together.
Western Kentucky a 1-point lead under 1 minute to go in this championship game from the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Here's Allen. 5 to shoot for the Knights.
Really good ball screen defense by Bassey, gapping it up.
Taylor got it up, but it's off the mark. A frustrating first half for B.J. Taylor with 30 seconds to go. Good look from Banton to Bassey, and a chance at a 3-point play. Holy smokes, 17 and a chance for 18 for the 18-year-old.
Charles Bassey doesn't run the floor when he feels like it. He runs it every time. What a terrific job of getting ahead of the basketball.
You love the energy, you love the touch, you love the feel around the basket. Bassey has his first free throw made of the contest. That gives him 18 points to go along with 7 rebounds. A dominating first half from the 5-star freshman, Charles Bassey. Last shot time for the Knights. And Taylor turns it over. Well, UCF battled back from an 11-point deficit, but Western Kentucky continues to lead by 4, led by Charles Bassey's 18 points. Now we go to Matt Schick, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg with the E-Trade halftime report. Welcome back to the Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship game, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers had a lead as large as 11 on UCF, but the Knights have cut it to 4, and that's where we stand as we get set to start the second half. 32-28 in favor of the Hilltoppers. Back inside the HTC Center on the campus of Coastal Carolina University alongside Deb Antonelli. I'm Rich Hollenberg. We've seen this Hilltoppers team play now a bunch, and their motto is attack, attack, attack. in the first 20 minutes of this game, it was Bassey, Bassey, Bassey.
Here's where you know this is a very good basketball team. You're right. We've watched them attack on the defensive end and on offensive glass. Today and tonight, it's been Charles Bassey attacking the rim. He runs ahead of the ball. He runs every time. He posts hard on the inside. And to counter on the other end, Aubrey Dawkins just makes plays. He doesn't need a set run for him. He slashes, he cuts. His timing is terrific. He knows how to play the game, and he's part of the reason why UCF is only trailing by 2 possessions.
Both of these teams play basketball the right way. They've assisted on all but 1 field goal. That's both of the teams, Western Kentucky and UCF. Western Kentucky has the edge in fast break points, but UCF certainly has an edge in bench points, and that brings us to the final 20 minutes, and we'll have to see if Charles Bassey, the 18-year-old freshman phenom, can dominate the second half like he did the first half.
And here's the other thing for Rick Stansberry's club at Western Kentucky. 13 baskets, 12 of which are assisted. Doing a good job of sharing the ball.
Dawkins, good start to the second half from Aubrey Dawkins.
Now, all that talk about him not needing a set, that was a set for him. And that's your dad drawing up your number in the locker room at halftime to come out and get a bucket.
Got ourselves a 1-point game. Bassey lost it. Here's B.J. Taylor, held scoreless in the first half. Gives it up to Dawkins. Again!
Bang!
UCF has their first lead of the night.
Is there any question whether Johnny Dawkins' son would be a competitor?
And an immediate timeout by Rick Stansbury and the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
Aubrey Dawkins out of the locker room's got the hot hand. Back-to-back triples. UCF up by a bucket.
Feast week continues with the Maui Gym Maui Invitational starting tomorrow. Number 9 Auburn and Xavier. Number 1 Duke and San Diego State. Arizona takes on Steve Prohm's Iowa State Cyclones. And of course, Mark Few and the 3rd-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs also in attendance in Lahaina. They'll be taking on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Here in Myrtle Beach, we've got ourselves a ball game, and Charles Bassey has his first bucket of the second half, an even 20 on the game for the 18-year-old.
This is his 5th college basketball game. He just turned 18 years old. He's 6'11". He's scored outside the arc from the mid-range, and he's posted up hard on the inside and worked his way to the free throw line as well. We've seen everything out of Charles Bassey tonight.
We talked to Paul Biancardi, the ESPN director of recruiting, earlier in this tournament, and he said about Bassey, he feels like he has got the ability to really showcase his athleticism, not just his size, but his athleticism. That's why Biancardi and his team rated him the number 3 overall center coming out of high school.
Well, he has been impressive. And on that last play, Taco Fall does not ever need to overhelp anywhere. He left him wide open.
Here's Bassey guarding Fall, and you just can't guard him one-on-one.
No, there's nothing you can do when he catches it that deep. It is literally a drop in the bucket.
It's a black hole in a good way. UCF battling back from 11 down in the first half to take a 2-point lead.
And see, one of the other differences, UCF being able to score on the offensive end because Western Kentucky isn't getting any stops. Look at the hesitation by Western Kentucky on the offensive end. Now they're not moving. The ball's getting stuck, unsure of what to do. I think Coach Stansberry's team plays their best when they're playing that 1-3-1, and they are creating havoc.
2 Hilltopper turnovers in the first 2 minutes of the half, and Taco Fall shows what amounts to touch for a 7'6" man.
Well, I like it for Johnny Dawkins. So what Johnny Dawkins is saying is Taco Fall can score on Charles Bassey, and Bassey's the only person scoring for Western Kentucky. So I'm going to try to take that out. I'm going to attack him on a defensive end.
Largest lead for the Knights. Here's Bassey. He got stuck, and now he's in trouble and throws it away. Mike Roberts waves it off, but it's going to be UCF ball, or Western Kentucky ball. No, check that. It is UCF ball. It's a 3-second call.
See, Bassey's got to pass it, but you know what? The ball went into him, and everyone at Western Kentucky stood around and watched. Nobody cut and played off that pass to the post.
Here's Taco again. Out to Dawkins. 15, make it 18 for Aubrey Dawkins. 3 triples in this half. Hollingsworth, they need him, and they got a bucket from him there.
Yeah, Hollingsworth and Savage are 2 great scorers, either on the top of the floor or on the wing. They both can finish in transition. And here comes the 1-3-1. I like it from Rick Stansberry.
And a nice lob inside, and they block Taco Fall's shot, but he gets fouled by Anderson. And some trash talking from the 7'6"er. Deshaun Murray's lobbying that it should be offsetting technicals. Well, it was Josh Anderson trying to block Taco Fall from behind, and Taco Fall wasn't having any of it.
Well, they both had something to say there, didn't they?
So we do know that Taco Fall got fouled. We're waiting to find out exactly what the assessment of the technicals will be.
Mike Eads said only 1 technical foul called on Josh Anderson, Western Kentucky. So UCF going to the free throw line, 2 free throws.
That is a classic case of not being the first one in a scrum. It's usually the second guy that gets it. Taco Fall was talking a little bit of trash first, and then Anderson got tagged when he got caught by the officials after that. So B.J. Taylor, an excellent free throw shooter at 80% on the season, knocks down both. And that has a little bit of a double benefit for Johnny Dawkins and the Knights because B.J. Taylor's final in the scoring column.
So you go, after the 2 free throws, you go to the point of interruption, and that is Taco Fall, who was fouled, going to the free throw line.
UCF outscoring the Hilltoppers 15-4 to start the second half. Do you try to fix the free throw at this point, or is it too late?
Oh, I can't even imagine how many different ways Taco has tried to shoot a free throw.
Hey, LeBron messes with his free throw form all the time.
Yeah. I think it would be equivalent to you and me trying to shoot a tennis ball from the free throw line.
That's true. Delano Banton called for traveling. Another Western Kentucky turnover. That's their 3rd of the second half.
I think Rick Stansberry is going to find out a little bit about his team right here. And Deshaun Murray is at the top of that 1-3-1. I like Merrick Nelson at the top of that 1-3-1. But they're going to stay in their man.
Here's Taco, guarded by Bassey.
Not bringing any help.
Fall in the lane. It falls off. But a UCF offensive rebound, no whistle. Taco, again with the dunk.
What can you do about that? That's all day.
9-point lead for UCF. A 20-point swing in this championship game.
Ball's getting stuck.
Hollingsworth, tough shot. And Bassey's going to be called for the push after Colin Smith grabbed the rebound. The momentum has swung squarely in the corner of the men in black.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. Hurry in today for huge Black Friday savings.
UCF was down by 11 in the first half. They are up by 9 with 15:30 to go in the Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship game. It's been a heavyweight bout between 2 bigs. Charles Bassey, the fabulous freshman, Taco Fall, the spectacular senior, and neither so far has disappointed, Deb.
No, it's been fantastic watching the two go back and forth, and Bassey has an edge in terms of production, but Taco Fall, some of the things that he does, you do not put on the stat sheet. It's hard to stat his presence around the rim.
They wave off the shot by B.J. Taylor, but it's a foul nonetheless on Western Kentucky. It's going to go on Hollingsworth, the team's 5th foul.
You know, I don't know if B.J. Taylor is just a nice play.
Deshaun Murray, the one-arm rebound.
I don't know if he's being too casual or if he's being patient. I'm not sure. I haven't studied him long enough to know. But we know if he was picked to be preseason player of the year in that league that he's got game. We just haven't seen it yet.
Both of these teams picked to win their respective conferences. Savage in and out for 3, Fall another rebound.
See, that's a contested shot, no ball reversal. Play off the pass a little bit more if you're Western Kentucky. And Banton's getting a lot of minutes at the top of the offense, isn't he?
Inside. Good hands by Bassey, knocking it away, and it's a UCF turnover. And Taco Fall was felled for a moment.
Watch Bassey right here, doing a good job, reaches, and then you see Fall tries to hold him. Good call by the officials.
And now Taco Fall to the bench. Mark this time down, 14-34. He's had a sensational second half. Let's see if the Hilltoppers can get back in this one with Fall on the bench.
Staying in that zone.
Banton to Bassey, blocked with authority by Smith, but the foul is called, and Charles Bassey will go to the line.
And
they are going to call a technical.
Good job getting inside the zone. Good hard foul by Colin Smith. And did he get a technical because he stepped over him?
Yep.
So once again, we'll go 2 free throws. Counts as a personal foul. And then point of interruption will be Charles Bassey at the free throw line for 2.
Tavion Hollingsworth at the line, a 77% free throw shooter so far this season. Hollingsworth broke Courtney Lee's all-time freshman scoring record at Western Kentucky. Preseason All-Conference USA, he has 8 points tonight in the title game. 1 for 2, and now Bassey will step to the line and shoot the 2 free throws. So after an energetic defensive play by Colin Smith, he's relegated to the bench for the extracurriculars. Bassey, touch looks good. It looks good off his hand.
I think
he just hasn't sunk many of them.
He's terrific. I think there's so many things that he does so well, and he's so young. And the upside is incredible.
He's 1 for 6 tonight from the free throw line.
He's got to change his routine or something because he's hit elbow jump shots tonight.
UCF 45, Western Kentucky 37, coming up on 14 minutes to go in this title game. Here's B.J. Taylor.
See Hollingsworth now going under all that screening action with Taylor because he hasn't made a shot.
Dawkins off the mark. They go inside to Bassey.
Good pass, though, by Banton. You can get some early offense out of Bassey. You're throwing that direct line pass right into the post.
Here's Burtz for 3. He made 2 of those in the first half. Bassey, and he missed the bunny. And Bassey goes down into the bleachers.
The one thing that Delano Banton can do with 6'8" vision over the top of other guards is see over any sort of scheming. That's twice he's made really good passes inside to Bassey.
Well, we talk about how aggressive a Rick Stansbury offense is. They love getting to the free throw line. They're going to need to hit their free throws in this one if they want to hang with UCF. Last season, Deb, they led the nation in free throw attempt discrepancy with their opponents. They took 324 more free throws than their opposition a year ago.
I mean, that's just spreading teams out and playing up tempo, playing fast, attacking on ball reversal, not setting for jump shots.
It's almost like 10 more trips to the free throw line a game.
Really.
2-possession ball game. Here's Taylor.
Finally.
First field goal of the game for B.J. Taylor, and it's a triple.
You've got to believe Johnny Dawkins runs a little clear out and has his, what I think is his best screener, Chad Brown, set a nice screen for B.J. Taylor.
Deshaun Murray got fouled. He'll go back to the free throw line. So there's Chad Brown, the 6'9" senior out of Deltona. Does a lot of the dirty work for Johnny Dawkins' club.
Well, we haven't heard from Aubrey in a little bit. He has 3 triples so far in this half. Early on. I say early, we're at the 12:30 mark. It feels like this game has slowed down a little bit.
There's Dawkins on the bench. Taco Fall remains there as well. And Bassey getting a breather for the Hilltoppers. Brown stripped. Hollingsworth, floater, in transition, got it to go.
Beautiful. And here comes the Western Kentucky defense. I love Merrick Nelson's insertion into the game right now. 1-3-1, he is long and bouncy at the top of that D.
Here's Taylor. All alone, Burtz, no. Big offensive rebound and put back by Chad Brown.
That's what Chad Brown does. He can add value without touching the ball, and he gets a great offensive rebound.
You've been calling for him all weekend.
Yeah, I like his game. I like his role on this team.
Aaron pass by the freshman Smith. Here's Burtz in transition. And it's going to be a Western Kentucky foul as we take another timeout here inside the HTC Center. UCF trying to pull away and claim the Myrtle Beach Invitational title. And if Chad Brown has his say, they'll be going home with the hard way.
I'm always thankful in November. But with college basketball serving up Feast Week on November 15th, I'm like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my. Tune in to Feast Week, November 15th through the 25th.
Rich Hollenberg, Debbie Antonelli, and the rest of the ESPN crew. The Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship, part of Feast Week, presented by Lowe's. And we have seen a 22-point swing in this game. Western Kentucky had an 11-point lead in the first half, and now UCF has an 11-point lead in this half. They're up 7 at this point, 50-43, and they've been led by Aubrey Dawkins and his 18.
He's at 9 second half points so far on 3 triples in this half. And he has been terrific playing without the basketball, moving into space, and he's back on the floor right now for UCF and his dad.
That's tonight's game track, brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Charles Bassey, sensational so far for Western Kentucky, but only 2 points in this half, and Chad Brown is trying to take things over.
Well, Terrell Allen doing a terrific job of getting inside again.
And you just get the sense that anytime UCF can get a lead, it's hard for anybody to come back because they play such good, fundamentally sound defense.
Yeah, I saw them hold their lead against St. Joe's. They move the ball. They know who should have the ball at the right times when you're trying to take some clock. And B.J. Taylor only with 1 basket. Misses the floater.
Taco Fall back on the floor for Johnny Dawkins Knights. Hilltoppers down by 9. Savage, too strong on the 3, another rebound for Fall. That's rebound number 4 to go along with 9 points and a couple of blocks. And Charles Bassey set to check back in for Western Kentucky. Inside Fall, working on the freshman Smith. He goes baseline, forget about it.
You can't give him the baseline. You at least got to force him back into the help. What a quick move.
Bounce pass, Smith. Nelson lost it. Looks like they're going to get the foul on Dawkins.
Good job by Tolu Smith working out of the short corner. And we haven't seen Western Kentucky take advantage in the 2-3 zone out of the short corner.
Merrick Nelson at the line to shoot for the Hilltoppers with Charles Bassey and starting point guard Josh Anderson set to check back in on the whistle. Nelson 1 for 2. It's a 10-point game, 54-44 as the point guard Anderson checks back in. And now Bassey needs to adjust the knee brace that he wears on his right knee before they inbounds the ball.
You know, it's interesting. He warms up without the knee brace, and then he puts it on when the game starts.
18 in the first half, 20 overall for Charles Bassey, a 5-star recruit. But it's UCF who's outscored Western Kentucky 24-12 in this half.
Hey, good job cutting off the baseline.
Taco gets his own miss.
Wow.
Now Bassey gets it. Cross-court pass almost picked off by Dawkins, and Hollingsworth goes down hard.
Let's take a look at this play again inside. You see the double team. They cut off the baseline. He spins to the middle. They knock the ball out of his hands. Yeah, I don't think he can pass it to himself like that. Well, it hit the rim, so maybe it's okay. I changed my mind.
I will say this. It is a difficult job to officiate a game that Taco Fall is involved in.
No question.
That's 11 for Hollingsworth.
He's so patient. He has the ability to catch, read where the help's coming from. And UCF plays off him really well.
B.J. Taylor to the bench for Johnny Dawkins. Hollingsworth cans them both. Western Kentucky trying to hang in there. Down 10, 8:45 to go.
Remember I talked about managing tempo, Rick? Rich, sorry about that. When I was managing tempo, meaning when Taco's on the floor and when he's not. See how they walk the ball up the floor and they just play through him? Their tempo changes when he's not on the floor.
That one was blocked by Anderson, out of bounds, and it'll be Hilltoppers basketball. Rick Stansbury does not have a shortage of players who can take over a game on offense. Hollingsworth, Savage, Bassey, they're all more than capable.
Now they're getting good ball movement, good ball reversal.
Here's Banton slashing in, gives it up to Bassey, and Bassey has a chance at a three-point play. A dynamite feed from Banton to Bassey.
We've been talking about Charles Bassey growing up in front of our eyes. How about Delano Banton? He has made several nice moves to the paint, piece of the paint and a drop-off. That is a terrific play by the 6'8" freshman point guard.
Bassey pays it off with the three-point play. He has 23. And you have to be fearless when you're going into the teeth of this UCF defense, and you have 7'6", 310-pound Taco Fall waiting for you. Kudos to Delano Banton for that one. UCF leads by 7.
They go to horns, and they're trying to isolate Taco Fall.
Banton called for the hand check. Well, we started off this championship game telling you about two terrific tall guys. Fall on the left, Bassey on the right. They have not disappointed.
Matt Schick here in the studio over on SEC Network. Bubba Parham for VMI has 10 threes, 35 points. Quade Green, 17 points off the bench. They needed that. Kentucky getting it done from the free throw line. They hold on to beat VMI by 10. Rich.
Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship on the line, 7:45 to go. UCF has stormed back from down 11 to take a 7-point lead on Western Kentucky, led in part by their 7'6" behemoth, senior Taco Fall.
He's been terrific, as advertised. He's a ticket-selling player all across the country when UCF shows up. People want to see Taco Fall in his game.
Out of the timeout, Frank Burke's on the line. He knocks down the first free throw. What does Western Kentucky have to do now with time becoming more and more precious to get back in this game and try and win a championship?
I think their basketball body language needs to change, and that happens for them with their defense. They had a really good possession the last time offensively because they moved the ball. They get one ball reversal, then they got it on the interior.
Hollingsworth, good shot fake, off the window. Pretty play by Tavion Hollingsworth, one of the more gifted offensive players you'll see.
He is a really good shot-making guard in the backcourt for Western Kentucky.
7-point game coming up on 7 minutes to go. And the foul on Hollingsworth.
And he gambles on going for the steal against B.J. Taylor.
Taylor a perfect 3 for 3 from the stripe this evening. And he makes them both, extending the lead to 9. Here's Banton. Tried to get it over Taco Fall. Bassey gave it back up.
Good decision.
With 10 on the shot clock, Savage nails a 3.
Really smart. You pump fake, it's not going to happen with Taco Fall leaning on you.
We've got ourselves a 2-possession ball game in the championship game for Myrtle Beach. Here's Bassey on a breakaway, and he missed it from close range.
He was worried about somebody undercutting him.
Burt's catch and fire, and what a turn of events.
That miss at the rim is like a turnover. Look how quickly UCF transitions to the transition three.
A huge 5-point swing in this one. And that's possibly the first mistake we've seen all night from Charles Bassey.
Nice, really good use of the window. Hollingsworth on one side, Savage on the other side of the rim.
Still plenty of time left for the Hilltoppers. Burt, same spot, different result this time. Here comes Anderson on the run out. The floater from Anderson. Offensive foul on Josh Anderson, called with B.J. Taylor taking the fall.
Anderson just doesn't see the floor. He had options.
Sports Center tonight on 11 p.m. Eastern with Bucci and Kenny. They'll have Vikings-Bears post-game reactions and a preview of the huge Monday Night Football matchup between the Chiefs and Rams, plus the latest on the Cleveland Browns showing interest in interviewing Condoleezza Rice for their head coaching vacancy. That and more coming up on Sports Center at 11 tonight with John Buccigross and Kenny Mayne. 63-56, UCF with the lead and the ball. All alone, Taylor got it for three.
Big triple. Back-to-back threes, good response by UCF.
This UCF defense has really tightened the screws. They haven't allowed 60 points to be scored on them so far in this invitational. Bassey in the post. He lost it. Another Western Kentucky turnover. And now Johnny Dawkins wants his team to settle down and take some time off the clock.
Smart. Didn't have anything in transition. Run some clock.
7 second-half turnovers for the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers.
Savage went after that like he was trying to foul intentionally.
Well, Jim Valvano, NC State Wolfpack strategy?
I don't think so. Not this early.
Well, UCF will be in the double bonus for the final 4:37. Terrell Allen coming off a 22-point semifinal, just scored his 5th point of the night.
Now this would be the small lineup on the floor for UCF, with Colin Smith coming back on the game and Dawkins moving to the 4.
Allen misses the second. Bassey grabs the rebound. Banton. He's a pass-first point guard, but he had the runner game there.
That's a terrific play. Really good second half out of the rookie.
Western Kentucky refuses to go away.
UCF has their good free throw shooters on the floor, their guards, they got you spread out. Don't tell me Johnny Dawkins is going to look at running a little 4 corners offensively. That would be something he might have learned when he was playing against the Tar Heels.
Bassey, the turnaround. And things have turned around for Charles Bassey in the second half.
Well, Western Kentucky's got to get a stop right here. Got to get some ball pressure.
B.J. Taylor with the ball, all 12 of his points coming in the second half. Now 10 on the shot clock. Blocked by Bassey. Patient on defense.
And he keeps it in play.
Banton.
Hit him right in the hands.
And that's the 8th turnover of the second half for Western Kentucky. We take our final media timeout with 3:02 left That's all the time that stands between the Knights and a championship.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Visit Myrtle Beach. Relax and unwind on Myrtle Beach time.
Deb, I don't know if you know this, but Jay Billis and Bill Walton have called in sick, and they're flying you to Maui to call all the games at the Maui Invitational.
I'm ready when they call me. I will be on the next flight.
Well, I will be in front of a TV watching because it's going to be some great basketball. Number 9 Auburn, number 1 Duke, number 3 Gonzaga are the headliners. It all starts tomorrow with the quarterfinals from Lahaina, Hawaii, the Maui Gym Maui Invitational. I'm just joking, of course. Deb wishes I wasn't.
Yes, I would love to
Jay
be.
and Bill are fine.
Jay and Bill are having the time of their lives right now.
If you follow either of them on Twitter, you know that for sure.
But we've had a great time here in Myrtle Beach as well.
They're terrific hosts, all the people, the Chamber of Commerce, they roll out the red carpet. This is officially the inaugural Myrtle Beach Invitational. There's a terrific field coming here next year as well. Coming up next, we flip the script. We go right up the road to Charleston and the Charleston Classic final, and that'll be a terrific matchup of top 25 teams between Purdue and Virginia Tech.
Really good guard matchup in the backcourt. Justin Robinson for Virginia Tech, maybe under the radar a little bit. If you pay attention, you know how good he is. And of course, Carson Edwards, something could be player of the year at Purdue. Oh, Terrell Allen missed a pick 6 right there.
The lead is 13, Hollingsworth. Fall the rebound. And UCF gonna take as much time off the clock as they can, run some offense, and try and salt away a Myrtle Beach Invitational title. Allen, the lob, and the foul on Benton from behind.
The backcourt for UCF of Taylor and Allen didn't score as many points as we've seen them score since they've been here. Allen had a big game last game, but they have been serviceable, taking care of the ball. They have made the extra pass. Taco Fall has been terrific here in the second half.
I asked this in all sincerity. I was joking before, but if Taco Fall's on the floor for UCF, why not foul him every single time down the floor? He has shown that he has a really difficult time hitting free throws.
We're at that point in the game where if he touches the ball, you should foul him.
Savage, floater. That's a dozen for Jared Savage. And Western Kentucky calls a timeout. 2:17 to go. Western Kentucky, do they have one more push to a championship? Keep it right here on ESPN2 immediately following our championship game in Myrtle Beach. We go nearby, just about an hour and a half's drive to the Charleston Classic Championship. 16th ranked Virginia Tech, 23rd ranked Purdue. That'll tip at 8:30 right here on ESPN2. We're counting down to 2 minutes in our championship game. UCF, the preseason #1 team in the Athletic Conference, coming back from 11 down in the first half, and now they lead by 11 against Western Kentucky, the #1 preseason team in Conference USA. That's 5 fouls on Jared Savage, so his night is done.
Merrick Nelson got up and tried to sub himself in for Jared Savage. There's only 4 players on the floor for Western Kentucky on that free throw. Now he's going to come in the game. There were only 4 players on the floor. He was at the scores table.
So Jake Omer makes 5. And at this point, it might not matter with UCF up a dozen and 2 minutes to go. Western Kentucky's going to have to shoot from long range. Instead, they give it to Bassey. Bassey gets the foul, and that would have been another way to get a 3-point play, but instead, Bassey will go to the line and have to earn it. Well, it's been a tough night at the free throw line for Charles Bassey, but just about everything else has been exemplary and eye-opening.
I think he's been terrific. Each game he's played, he's gotten better, and this is just his 5th college basketball game.
That's 24 points for Charles Bassey.
Good luck.
Go along with 10 rebounds.
Excuse me, Rich. Good luck, Conference USA, having to deal with that in the league. He's going to keep getting better. His upside is incredible. And he also hit a 3 in this game.
Back-to-back double-doubles. First one coming in the semifinals against West Virginia. This time in the championship game against UCF. 2 really imposing defenses, we might add. So Charles Bassey living up to the hype, but it's UCF up by 10 with 1:46 to go. A peek at what Johnny Dawkins and company will be facing when they leave here. And here's an interesting game on November 29th, Deb. They'll take on Alabama. I know a lot of college football fans that would love to see that game.
Yeah, well,
the Knights against the Crimson Tide.
That's not going to happen.
That is not going to happen. They take on the Norse from Northern Kentucky before that. Then they travel to Missouri, Grambling, and Georgia Southern, all leading up to the beginning of conference play, and that will be January 2nd as they welcome the Temple Owls to Orlando.
This is where Johnny Dawkins has a good advantage. He's got guards that can handle. They can make free throws late. They can close out games for him. Good vision. How about Aubrey Dawkins' game? He's had a terrific game for UCF.
There's a turnover. And B.J. Taylor content to bring it back out, and unfortunately Charles Bassey runs into him. I don't think that was intentional. But that's Bassey's 3rd foul, and that will send B.J. Taylor back to the free throw line. Taylor with 12 points, all coming in the second half. And a win like this should send notice to the rest of the American Conference that even without B.J. Taylor at his most dynamic and his most prolific, this is still a team that could beat a quality opponent by double digits potentially.
I mean, Taylor didn't score a lot of points yesterday, or excuse me, on Friday against St. Joe's. He only had 5, and those were late. And he patiently lets the game come to him. He does a good job on the top of the zone here.
Only one team leaves an invitational like this undefeated, and it's going to be the UCF Knights at 3-0, but a good showing by Western Kentucky, who will end up 2-0 after a semifinal win against West Virginia on Friday night. "40 seconds left. And the UCF faithful are on their feet, cheering on the Knights, who will take home a Myrtle Beach Invitational Championship back to Orlando. Dawkins puts the capper on it with a 3, his 4th of the night. Make that his 5th of the night.
Yeah, he played really well. Played really well, knocking down shots, making plays without the ball. Big win for UCF.
A team high 21 for Aubrey Dawkins, the redshirt junior. And it ends up being a 78-62 final, with UCF taking home the hardware against Western Kentucky. Congratulations to Johnny Dawkins and company. The Knights are the champions of the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Aubrey Dawkins takes home the Most Outstanding Player Award for the Invitational. And he'll join Taco Fall, Charles Bassey, Sagaba Kanate, and Khalil Ahmad, who had 40 for Cal State Fullerton earlier today. So once again, our final score, UCF 78, Western Kentucky 62. That'll do it from the HTC Center and for the Myrtle Beach Invitational. For Debbie Antonelli and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Rich Hollenberg saying so long from Myrtle Beach. Now we send you to the studio, Matt Schick, LaFonso Ellis, and Seth Greenberg. So long from South Carolina.